Hello boys and girls, humbly yours, my name is ArraySeven. Man versus machine mode seems to be as confusing as it comes for some folks out there. Apparently it must be some mysterious void in which nothing but bad ideas and bubble wrap exist, and understandably can turn any decent player into an idiot of biblical proportions. And unfortunately, the medic seems to be just as enigmatic. As a result, in any given game of MVM, it's not uncommon to see some poor doctor sitting in a corner playing with a doorstop. So just for you all, ladies and gentlemen, I have compiled a complete guide for medics in man versus machine mode. Now, when you lose a round, you can clap your hands together, lean back in your office chair, and claim with all honesty that this time it was in fact not your fault. The first and foremost element is your equipment. Now, with more experienced players, it might change depending on preference, but in my modest and ever so mentally incompetent opinion, you can never go wrong with the Blutsauger, Kritzkrieg, and Ubersaw combination. Many people might attest to the Blutsauger, saying that the Overdose is a much more viable weapon, and in certain cases that's true, but using the Blutsauger on an already mad-milked robot lets you fill your health faster than a Mexican urinal. And while we all know the true wonder and prowess that is the Crusader's crossbow, it is probably the worst choice for MVM. As for Medigun, my opinion is you Uber your best and canteen the rest. This is where the Kritzkrieg comes in, because MVM is all about that damage per second, baby, and the Kritzkrieg can Uber charge much longer than any canteen could. Others can work well too. For example, the Vaccinator negates critical hits, which works wonders on some of the Two Cities waves, so it will be most likely used defensively instead of offensively. Concerning the quick fix though, only use that if your teammates die like a hippie's t-shirt, because you can revive them in an instant. Especially with the Uber charge on the quick fix, reviving someone will raise them from the dead with a spankingly new health bar. But, in my opinion, the Kritzkrieg and Uber canteens will trump like Donald any day, and when in doubt, this is the best combination. Now, circling around to the recommended melee. As anyone who has done this before knows, everyone and their mother will vouch day and night for the Ubersaw. It's a great weapon, don't get me wrong, but too many people are Ubersaw purists and will roll their eyes in the back of their head and start spazzing out Exorcist style if anyone even suggests a different option. I would know, I'm pretty partial to the stock bonesaw in public matches myself, and almost every round I get ridiculed in the balls so hard I can hear kings dying. The point is, there are other options. The Vitasaw, for example, is incredibly useful with teammates who do about as good of a job as keeping you alive as Darla from Finding Nemo. It grants you up to 20% Uber upon your death, meaning that you get a jump start on it once you respawn, so use that if your teammates are terrible at keeping you breathing. There's also the Stock, which, as much as I love it, really is as useful as a cast iron parachute, and same with the Amputator. The last thing you want to do is stand still in a case like this. And of course, you can defend the Amputator with the increased healing rate, but that's nothing an upgrade can't solve. No, I think I'm going to side with the Ubersaw Master Race people. Building Ubercharge off of Sentry Busters and Mega Medics can get you right back to popping and topping in no time. As far as I'm concerned, bone saws are like religions. I'll go with whichever one has more for me and less for them. If you don't get that, you need to bone up on your history, Jack. Next up is that delicious bread and butter of MVM, those all-important upgrades. Because at the end of the day, the person who wins is the one with a bigger gun, and your purpose as a medic is to make the other person's gun look at least a little bit smaller. Your medigun upgrades are your top priority, and projectile shield is absolutely number one! The shield will save your life and revive others more than enough time to justify getting it. Next up is Healing Mastery, which pretty much kicks everything you do into maximum overdrive, so make sure you upgrade the hell out of that. Afterwards comes Canteen Specialist, letting you carry over your canteen's effects onto your patient, which is truly a beautiful thing. From that point, Uber Duration and Overheal Expert are your next of kin choices for the next rounds. I do not, however, recommend sinking any money into Ubercharge rate. Not that it isn't important, of course, it's just that the money put towards Ubercharge rate could rather be put into something that keeps your teammates in the game longer and help revive them much quicker like. Besides, the Ubersaw will help you get your Ubercharge back in no time. After your Medigun upgrades come beef ups to the medic himself. I highly recommend health regeneration, crit resistance, and movement speed in that exact order too. Only if you have a great scout and therefore money to spare should you upgrade anything else. Some of my personal favorite miscellaneous upgrades are Mad Milk Syringes and Firing Speed on the Blutsauger. That right there is a one-way ticket to Helltown, USA. And lastly comes how you should behave. As a medic in MVM, you should generally stay in the same area, preferably near the dispenser. If anyone's hurt, they should come to you, or if they're farther away than my hopes and dreams of becoming a professional pogo stick champion, at least meet them in the middle. Keep the heavy and the soldier on the leash as often as possible. Both of them take more damage than the Cyrus family name and need the heals. However, if there's no severe danger, make sure you keep the other classes beefed up on health as well, excluding the scout, of course. Screw him, he's fine on his own. Now, this is a key part concerning Demomen. If you're using the Kritzkrieg, give him the lightning to lay down some mad crit stickies before the round starts. I can't say that enough. That little glowing carpet right there would send Megatron to his room without any dinner. And lastly, as a tip that kinda goes with any game mode ever, make sure that before you ubercharge someone they are fully reloaded to maximize the uber time. Well, female and male members of the human race, my name is ArraySeven and this has been an all-encompassing guide to Man vs. Machine Medic. Keep poppin' and toppin', everybody.
I'm the invincible, undefeated champion. Mount Zion's my ancestors can't rely on. Star of David, nah, the thought of stardom. Martyrdom and done crumbs left to the dumb thumb. To this play button, glutton of words. Mutton, birds of fly to fly to you, dropping turds. Hopping up on ignorance to feel how your mighty pop up the real. Dance the visual, cry to deity. Pious piety might be.